Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here. In my last video, I shared a bunch of guns that I felt would be good guns for a family to use on a homestead, and that got me thinking, maybe I should show off the guns that I personally have that I would use on my own homestead. Now, where I'm currently residing, this house that I'm in right now, is actually in a subdivision out in the suburbs in Missouri. But my fiance's property, where I will be living, is actually a plot of land over in Illinois, which is it's about 10 acres of land. It's surrounded by a bunch of farm fields like corn and bean and things like that. So very wide open spaces, and they do have a lot of really weird gun laws and hunting laws over there. But so I won't have all of my guns over there. I'll have some of them here and that. But it's a different property than the farm. The farm's a totally different plot of land, and a totally different set of guns would be used at the farm versus here at this house or over at that plot of land over there in Illinois. So let's talk about the guns that I would use or the family would use on that particular homestead. And we're going to break this down into categories again. So we're going to start off with rim fires. The first rim fire I'm going to show, and this one was in the last video, was the Ruger Wrangler. It's a 22 6-shot single action revolver. I really just got this to be a fun gun, but it can be carried and used for small animals. So, you could use it on rabbits, muskrats, rats, although I think the feral cat population kind of took care of the rats a little bit ago, so probably don't really have very many rats anymore. But there are like skunks and raccoons, things like that. I wouldn't necessarily just kill one to kill one, but if one came up and it was rabid or something like that, a good 22 revolver would be a perfect option to dispatch that animal. I would really like to get a revolver that has an interchangeable cylinder for 22 Magnums, and I'm thinking either a Super Wrangler, which is a fairly new version of the Wrangler, or single six, which is a very similar gun as well. Either one of those revolvers I think would be an excellent choice, better choice than this gun, but this gun would work for now. The other option, for a rifle, I have a Ruger 1022 with a scope on it, and this, like I said, it's pretty much the same kind of things as the revolver there, but just from a longer distance. So if you see a muskrat from across the field, it definitely would work better than just a revolver. And they've killed several muskrats out there, and I'm not really one to just kill an animal, but muskrats do cause a lot of damage to the pond, and you don't want to lose the pond because the muskrats dug a hole straight through the dam. So a good 22 for that would be a great option. And the last rifle, rimfire rifle that I'm going to show, is a Ruger American rimfire. This is the full-length version. I think it's 22 inches, but it's a 17 HMR. So it's got a very similar magazine to the 1022, but it's a 17 HMR, holds 9 rounds. And I actually got this to be a gun to protect chickens. Now they didn't end up getting a chicken coop like I thought they were going to, but it's still in the cards for maybe one day. And I know coyotes and raccoons, animals like that, like to prey on chickens, and I feel like a good 17 HMR or 22 Magnum or even just a 22 would be a good choice for that. And I was going to put some see-through rings and a scope on here. I just never got around to doing it. In fact, I've never even shot the gun yet because they never ended up getting the chickens, and so it kind of just has sat in storage all this time. But the whole idea is that we would have a good designated rifle at the ready if we ever looked out the window and saw a coyote or a raccoon or anything getting close to the chickens and they needed to be taken care of, or if we just knew that there was a predator around and we lost a few chickens and we're just sitting there waiting and hunting for that specific predator. That is basically what that's for. So those are the 3 rim fires that I would use. Now, we do have several other Ruger Wranglers, and we do have another 1022, actually a few 1022s that would also work, but these are just the ones that I'm showing off for this video. So anyway, that's the rim fires. Alright, now let's talk about handguns. Now, like I said before, Illinois has some really weird and dumb gun laws. In fact, I haven't really kept up with the whole assault weapons ban thing, and if it's still a thing, if it's been shot down, I don't really know. And I'm not really planning on taking my whole gun collection to Illinois anyway. But as far as handguns go, even with the whole assault weapons ban thing, I would think that both of these 2 handguns would be perfectly legal, and I think they would also do the job just fine. So let's talk about this one right here. This is a Smith & Wesson Model 39-2. It's a 9mm single stack, so it holds either 8 or 9 rounds, I don't remember. But, it would be within the 10-round limit that everybody seems to put on magazine capacity. And honestly, I got this gun to be a coyote pistol. So, like, we have a bunch of dogs, and we let them out in the backyard. And sometimes we even take them on walks, especially like if we ever get a new dog and we're trying to get them potty trained. A lot of times we'll take them outside on a walk, and at nighttime you might run into a coyote. So I always thought it would be a good idea to have some kind of a pistol on you to protect both yourself and the dog from a coyote. And I felt that a good single stack 9mm would do just fine, because 8 or 9 rounds of 9mm would definitely do the job. Now, I haven't, of course, used it in that capacity yet, but I did take it out shooting once or twice and found that the extractor on this gun needs to be replaced because it doesn't always extract the round, or the spent casing rather. So I need to get a new extractor for it. But other than that, it's a great gun, and I think it would do the job just fine. Now, the other handgun that I have here is a Ruger Security 6, which I showed in my last video, and it's of course a 6-shot 357 Magnum. And for what kind of animals we have out here, I think a good 357 Magnum would do just fine. I don't think a 44 Magnum will be required, and of course I don't even have a 44 Magnum. I have a 41 Magnum though, but that's a whole nother topic. So honestly, these are the only 2 pistols other than the any 22 pistols that I would take. But these are the only 2 handguns that I feel I really need, and they do have a couple other handguns as well. A couple 38s and I think a 380 and a 40 cal. So that kind of meets all the standards. I mean, I guess I could take my 45 as well, but I don't really see the need. But these 2 pistols, handguns, I think would cover pretty much all the basics along with my Ruger Wrangler for the 22. So anyway, those are the handguns. Alright, now let's talk about shotguns. Now, just like with the handguns, there's really only a couple shotguns that I'd probably take with me, and that's basically one to be a defensive shotgun and one to be a hunting shotgun, assuming I was even going to hunt in the state of Illinois. Now, these shotguns are basically just 2 versions of the same shotgun. The first one here is a Mossberg Maverick 88, and it is my current home defense shotgun. and I would probably definitely take this one with me to be a defensive shotgun. Now, I have it set up here. It's got a sling. It's a 7+1 capacity. I've got a fiber optic front sight there. I have a flashlight mounted to it. I have a side saddle here with some double-aught buckshot, and it's loaded with double-aught buckshot. And I did have a side saddle on the stock as well, but it came off. It doesn't really stick very well to the polymer, so I'll probably come up with some other option there. But basically I had a side saddle here with some Winchester PDX 1 rounds that had, the slug and the buckshot, and then I have double-aught buckshot on that side and then double-aught buckshot in the tube. So anyway, that is my defensive shotgun. Now, my fiance also has her own defensive shotgun. It's actually a 410. It's a Henry not a Henry Big Boy, but a Henry X model 410. I've shown it on this channel before. I don't have it because she has it, but I set that up for her for home defense because she has bad shoulders and she can't really take the powerful kick of a 12 gauge or possibly even a 20 gauge. So I got her a 410, and that's what she uses. And it's very similar setup to what I got here. And that's just a really good shotgun. Now, for a hunting shotgun, we're talking about deer hunting. If I was going to do bird hunting, which that's probably more along the lines of what I would do, I'd basically just have another Mossberg 500. I got a couple options that I could use. But anyway, this one, if I was going to deer hunt, this is actually a Western Field. Was it from Montgomery Ward or something? But a Western Field model 550B. It's basically just a Mossberg 500 chambered in 16 gauge. And the reason I chose this one is because this is, I believe, the only shotgun I have that has rifle sights. And I do have several boxes of 16 gauge slugs. So this would be an excellent option if I was going to deer hunt, because like I said before, Illinois has some really weird hunting laws when it comes to deer. You can use shotguns, but you can only have 3 rounds. They got to have, it can't be a 410. It has to be bigger than a 410. So yeah, anyway, you can use shotgun, you can use a single shot rifle in a very specific caliber, you can use a muzzleloader, and that's about it. So my chances of actually hunting for deer in the state of Illinois are very slim, but if I did find a place to actually deer hunt, this would probably be the gun that I have because it's the only gun that would work in my entire collection, and it would work for bird hunting technically as well. Otherwise, I have a couple other Mossberg shotguns that have longer barrels that would also do the job for bird hunting as well. But you get the idea. Pretty much, it's looking like Mossbergs for me for the Homestead, because honestly, I have so many Mossbergs, and they all generally do the same thing, and they have the same basic battery of arms. So, anyway, those are the shotguns that I would take. Let's move on to the rifles. Alright, and here's the rifles that I would potentially take with me. So, starting off, we have a Ruger Mini 14 with a side-mounted scope. And this would definitely be a good defensive rifle, or even like a coyote or a fox rifle for long distance. Longer distance, I would say, than 17 HMR. But also just like a defensive rifle in case we start to see some bad guys coming down the driveway, because that's a pretty long driveway, and you just never know. But this is a good, 223 rifle. You do have the option to use the iron sights and the scope. Although whoever had this gun before me, dremeled out the rear sight, and I don't really know why they did that. I do have the parts to swap out for the actual ghost ring rear sight, and they also did some machine work on the front sight there as well. As you can see, they kind of like notched it. If the stupid thing would focus, you could actually see it. But anyway, this is a good Mini 14, and like I said, I don't really know what the current laws are with Illinois and magazine capacity. I feel like it goes back and forth. Is it constitutional, unconstitutional, blah, blah, blah. I do have plenty of 30-round magazines, but, you know, if I had to, I got some 5-rounders. I could buy some 10-rounders. I mean, I could always do that if I absolutely had to, if you want to stay legal anyway. But anyway, the Ruger Mini 14, I've always felt was a very good option for a ranch rifle or homestead rifle. And I personally feel like in my specific situation, the 223-556 is just a better caliber than the 7.62x39 because I feel like the 223 is a little more accurate at longer range. The 7.62x39 would be better in more of a woodsy environment, like the farm, because there's a lot of woods at the farm, but at this place there's a lot of wide open areas. And kind of on the flip side of that, the next rifle I have here is a Marlin 1894 in 44 Magnum. This is a Remington-made Marlin. I would really like to get one of the new Ruger-made Marlins, but this is a Remington-made one, and like I said, it's in 44. And kind of on the flip side from that rifle there being long distance, this is more of an up close and personal short range rifle, and I feel like it's good to have one of each because you are far away from your neighbors, but you're not that far away from your neighbors. I mean, in the wintertime, when all the fields are cut, you can definitely see quite a few of your neighbors. And yeah, they're far away, but if you aren't paying attention to where you're aiming, and your bullet goes further than you need it to go, you might accidentally hit a house. A good 44 Magnum or a 44 Special might not necessarily go as far, or it might lose more velocity than, say, a 30-06, because I feel like a 30-06 would carry quite a bit further than a 44 Magnum 44 Special. But anyway, that's the other rifle that I would use, and like I said, not that I would go deer hunting in the state of Illinois, but this would be the other option. This is a Wolf, or CVA Wolf muzzleloader, and this is it's like one of the only types of guns that you can actually use to deer hunt in Illinois other than a shotgun. So, this would be a good option. I personally bought this to be, for alternative method season for hunting in Missouri, because we can use muzzleloaders, handguns, crossbows, things like that. And I wanted to get a good muzzleloader. I just haven't set it up yet to actually use it, and I've got my deer for the year this year, so I'm not worried about it this year, but maybe I'll actually set it up next year with a scope and take it to the range and whatever. But anyway, that is, if I was ever going to deer hunt in the state of Illinois, I would either use that gun or I would use the 16 gauge shotgun. But anyway, those are the rifles, and honestly, those are all the guns that I feel necessary to take with me to that particular property for any situation that I feel might arise. And, like I said, I'm not sure the legality of the magazine capacity, but honestly, I feel like with all the guns I showed here and all the guns they already have over there, I feel like, if we took all the guns that we needed, we could pretty much fight our way through anything realistically anyway. Because, you never know if the end of the world's going to come, and that might be a little bit different story, but realistically, in modern times, I feel like a Mini 14, an 1894, a couple of shotguns, a couple of handguns, I feel like we'll be pretty well off there. Hey, before I go, I just thought I'd remind everybody that I do have a second channel called Redneck Off the Range. Over there, I post most of my non-gun related content, so whether it's a video on my new tractor, my power tools, my projects that I'm working on, maybe wild game recipes, or just a random vlog, I post all of this kind of content over on my secondary channel. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check it out, Redneck Off the Range. But that's all for this video, so subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.